All right, guys, we're here with Enoch. How are you doing? I saw you in chat being a little nervous.
I'm fine, I'm fine.
You're fine. You're good. You guys, okay, in case you don't know Enoch, and like, shame on you if you don't, I'll be dropping a link on chat so you can go follow him. You'll see his art scrolling in the background too. So I was getting the art for the background for the slideshow thingy, and I was amazed at like the range you have. Not only like range of like physical digital media, all that, but the like the tonal range and how it goes from creepy to cute to like very deep, very quickly.
I just like to try a bunch of different things, and if I see like an art medium I haven't tried before and it looks interesting to me, I will bother my wife until she takes me to go get the stuff to try.
So you've done like physical like paintings. You've done digital art, of course, like more painting and more drawing. You're doing 3D now, right?
I'm trying it. I'm not really smart enough to go really in depth with it at all.
No, but I mean, like you're starting out with that, right?
Yeah.
So it's a completely new medium. It's not like jumping from painting physically to digitally, where a lot of the same principles apply. You're like doing a completely different thing. So like
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder to figure out.
yeah, I get that. I've tried like my hand a little bit at 3D. Not enough that I can show to anybody. Except don't go ask me for my 3D stuff. I won't show it. But, but it is like very different for the like brain to figure out once you're so used to 2D.
Well, like the program I'm currently playing with, it's pretty much just drag and drop, and it has an in-house like editor where you can do the pixel art like
Oh yeah,
on
what's the
each.
name of that one?
It's called Crocodile 3D, and I'll put it in the chat.
Crocodile. Yeah, I love that stuff you've been doing. It's like very like lo-fi, like old school video game feel. It's very
Yeah,
nice.
I love the feel of that program so much, and it doesn't have a super steep learning curve.
Yeah, I might even give it a try just so I get more used to 3D stuff. It's not something I'm going to be able to use because I guess my biggest objective with learning 3D is using it as something to help with my 2D stuff. Like maybe I need a very specific object and a very specific lighting and angle, and I can't find a picture, then I just model it and put it in there, put some textures.
I think Blender would be more suited for that
Yeah, of
since it's got
course.
like in-house rendering and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to learn. But just to get my brain used to 3D, that might be a fun little distraction. What are you of all these mediums we've talked about? What's your favorites to work on,
Oh, um,
if you have one?
I think I like doing traditional media the best. I just usually never can like physically feel well enough to sit in there all day to do it as much as I like. I used to do like traditional like oil paintings and acrylic just almost exclusively, and then I just started doing digital art, and now I do almost exclusively digital art.
When did you do the switch to one from one to the other? Was it a more gradual thing, or did you just change
It
into
it
digital?
oh, it was very gradual. I didn't know what I was doing with digital art at all until a couple years ago. I didn't even know how layers worked, so everything would be on one layer and it would be a mess and nothing would be
Oh,
inside the lines at all.
I regularly
It's really
get
cool.
to more than 100 layers, and I guess for drawing it's not that out of the ordinary because you're doing a lot of little layers. But for photo stuff, it just kills Photoshop.
That's probably extremely important to have layers when you're doing Photoshop stuff, but
Yeah.
most of the time I've I use just like a couple layers and sometimes I just put whole paintings on one layer instead of
Oh
trying to do
God.
like Like I was trying to do lines and color in like the same layer. Like
Oh
I was
god.
trying to learn how to do line work, and I did not know how to do line work, and I still don't know how to do line work. I've never figured out how to do line art ever.
Trevor agrees. He does a couple layers and then just condenses everything like a fool. You guys are stressing me. So
Sorry.
there's this. I'm kidding, but there's this principle of composites or photo, like the kind of photo editing I do. Well, it's much better to do non-destructive editing. It's called, where like you put a picture in instead of drawing the edges out with an eraser. You don't want to do that because you might want to change the edges later. So you do it with a layer mask, and instead of like you do things in a way that you never lose the original pixels, if that makes sense. So all the information is there if you want to go back and change stuff. So to do that
I
though,
still don't know anything about masking at all.
I use it a lot, but yeah, it's like the idea is that you're never losing all that information, and at the end of the day that means like a ton of layers and very very heavy layers with a lot of filters and stuff to them that just weigh down Photoshop. Like this machine I have, this computer is built to just to withstand that. Oki says we just draw with a sketch layer like godless animals. Oh god.
Most of my sketches are just so unreadable. It doesn't matter if I just draw.
Oh. Do you about like your process? Do you like start with an idea in mind, or do you just go with the flow?
Sometimes I start with an idea, but most of the time I just kind of draw shapes until something happens.
Like when you do, I imagine like all those like faces and portraits you do that are very like just a headshot or something.
Yeah, if it's just a headshot or something, you can assume that I had no thoughts while I was drawing that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just a brain off, just drawing.
Just absolutely brain off. But if it's like a fully rendered room or something, I usually have an idea for what I want.
That makes sense.
Kinda.
Yeah, like one of my favorite ones you did recently is it's like a room with a very detailed carpets and a casket in the end, and I don't know how to describe it, and like pictures on the walls, that kind of thing where
Oh,
it's
there.
very rendered.
I, I,
And
I was thinking about a front room when I made that, like where they used to have funerals and
yeah,
houses and stuff.
then I guess in those cases that it's more planned, right? Do you have like pictures you use for reference, or
Um, yeah, sometimes for a couple of them I used pictures from when I went to an abandoned sanatorium and took a bunch of pictures and used those.
oh, yeah, that's the one with. I remember you talking about that with the chair in the corner, right, and the window.
Yeah, the one with the chair in the corner and the one with the guy down the hallway are
Yeah.
both ones that come from there. Everybody's talking about the bee right now.
How about the bee? Yeah,
Yeah, they're all talking about the
The bee
bee.
just scrolled to the background. The bee is very good. The bee is very cute. Mary's asking, maybe Valdivia asked before and I missed it, but what is that got you jazzed about horror in the first place?
Hmm. I I don't know. I just kind of started there. I didn't start anywhere else.
You started with that kind of thing. Like you've always been drawing this.
Yeah, and I haven't been drawing way too long. I didn't start like drawing until college, doodling instead of paying attention.
Oh, I get that. But you deal with a lot of morbid stuff, and I think that's like one of your like hallmarks, or one of your like we're seeing the ones that are scrolling by right now are very morbid in that way. What is that draws you to that?
I just kind of like the aesthetic of it. I don't know. That sounds like a serial killer thing to
No,
say.
I get it. I get it. That and skulls. I love your skulls. We have one playing the piano in the background right now. I love that whole little series you did at some point with with just skeletons doing stuff
Yeah, I
is very
love
fun.
drawing skeletons a lot. They're really interesting to draw, and they're also really hard to draw.
They are. I get that. I've done a lot of. I'm not terribly good at drawing, but when I was studying medicine and studying anatomy, I visually, since I have a very visual brain, I had to draw everything, and the proportions, all the little bones in the skeleton it's quite a lot. By the way, for chat here, check out this little guy I have. I was just showing it to the others before, and I have my little skeleton here, my little skull. It goes well with the theme. Just a tiny little guy. Of all the things you draw, you do like portraits and like whole scenes and stuff. What's the hardest one for you? That's the one you struggle the most with.
Hmm. I'd say fully rendered rooms are the things I struggle with the most because they take like 20 and 30 hours at a time, and
Damn.
if I have trouble where if I'm not getting paid to do it, I don't want to do it on my own, and I try to
I
make
will pay
myself
you,
do it.
Enoch. Everyone.
I
If
try to
all
make
chat
myself
gets
do it
together.
on my own, but then I'm like, what's my motivation besides number go up?
Yeah. I get that. That's why I use photos, says Trevor. I completely agree. That's why I use photos. Because rendering
I
something
could
for
do
20
that,
hours
but then it won't look exactly how I want it to look, so I want to do it myself.
I get that. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I've like, for me, something that I have a certain degree of aphantasia. I don't know if it's pronounced like that, where it's hard for me to like hold images a long time in my
I
brain.
can't do that. I can't do that either. I
Oh,
can't really picture things in my head.
okay. Yeah, there's a lot of artists that have aphantasia. It's crazy because you'd imagine that we're the least inclined people to do art, right? If we can't create images in our brains, but maybe it's the fact that we can't that kind of drives us to make stuff. I don't know. It's very philosophical, but that's crazy that you're also like that. So in my brain, I'll usually have like an image of what I want to do, and I'll and once I find pictures that sort of match that, my image will change to that, right? It will be superimposed with the picture. So it's not like your case where you have this idea in mind and you want it to look a certain way, and of course pictures won't do for that, right?
They could, but it won't be exactly what I want, where I want it, and then
Yeah.
I probably won't end up liking it.
That's fair. I guess we've talked a bit before about like what inspires you or artists' inspirations. Is there like someone who's especially sticks out in your brain, like this? I want to have this style, or
A lot of people who I want their styles. I really it's weird, but I like a lot of concept artists art, even though it's just like it's photo bashing, and I could do it myself, but like I want to learn how to make things like that. I don't know, that's a weird
no, that makes sense.
thing.
And okay, that would solve your problem of rendering backgrounds for 20 hours, like getting some photo
Yeah,
textures
because
on there.
like with good photo bashing, you cannot tell it's not a painting.
Yeah, that makes sense. For me, I try to go the other way. I try to make it look like a photo, but it's different styles, different strokes. So how long have you been doing art? Like, say since college. How many years is that, more or less?
So it's probably been like I started when I was like 18 or 19, and I'm 26 now, so 8 years.
Oh, that's a fair amount then. I mean, I guess you always start with something like with little sketches or something.
I was not good then. I was very bad.
Yeah, I mean, weren't we all? I
You
think
know, like those like deviant art, like um MS Paint anime drawings. That's how my art looked like when I
Really?
first started.
We were out there on DeviantArt in the good old days. I mean, please don't look me up on DeviantArt. I mean, do, it's fun, it's funny, but my account is still there. It's kind of just put it as.
I'll let it rest in peace. I won't stalk you.
No, but it's my account right now is just a notice saying this account is not active anymore. But if you go into the gallery and scroll down, you'll see some of the very first Photoshop things I did, and then like a bunch of attempts at drawing in different styles and very edgy and bad stuff. But yeah, it's I guess it's.
My stuff was so edgy. It was so bad.
But you know, it's the fact that we kind of cringe at it right now is it's a sign of growth, right? It's like we've been there.
You start somewhere, but like when you start drawing spooky art, I think almost everybody goes through a phase of I should make this the harshest and worst to look at thing possible.
I guess I never had that phase.
You want me to show you later, but I don't have it anymore. I nuked it so long ago.
It disappeared. It is ancient history.
It is gone. It is never coming back.
Oh god. I guess I never went through that very edgy phase because I never really did horror like as an art medium until last year, till 2020.
I think when you were first starting, like my first interaction with you was you like messaging me to show me your giant bug.
Yes. Okay. So I was very, very scared. So Enoch is.
Why were you scared?
Okay. Enoch was one of the very first people I like interacted with on Twitter because I was like, as I mentioned before, if you were here when I was talking to Trevor before, I used to post on Instagram pretty much exclusively. I just had a pretty much dead Twitter. And when I started doing horror stuff, I was very like scared of like the reception it would get because people didn't know me to like as someone who did horror art in any way. So I went on Twitter and all the cool horror artists I was following, I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna message a few of them and ask for like critique or something. I'm like, I need something to confirm that what I'm doing is decent. And I messaged Enoch and I was saying like, hey, would it be okay if I got like a critique for this thing I made? God, it's a bit embarrassing, but
I had no idea how to judge the bug. It was really good, but I had no idea how to judge the bug.
I get that. I was like, I don't know, I gotta ask someone because nobody I knew did horror art either. All the people I knew, like all the art people on the internet I knew, were doing like vibrant, surreal things, so they wouldn't have liked it. Actually, since I went like straight to Twitter and used that as my main like social media for a while, so I wasn't checking Instagram at all, or all the artist people I knew from then. Then this whole NFT thing started, and one day I was checking Instagram. All of them were doing NFTs, and I was like, okay, I'm glad I moved on.
Photographers I followed started doing them, and I was like almost in tears unfollowing them. I'm just like, not you too. Why do you have to be fucked up?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I kind of wonder because a bunch of these people, I guess, got just pulled in by the hype without really seeing any of the bad stuff. Because I talked to one of them that I kept more contact with, and because he was like, oh, I may do NFTs and stuff, so I actually just went into DMs and said, like, explain my opinion. He was like pretty understanding. I was like, I never even heard about all these stuff you're talking about. I like the environmental stuff.
When they first started up, I was like, oh, this looks cool, and I learned very quickly that like, hey, maybe I should stay far away from this. But
yeah, exactly. So this one person I kind of convinced to not do it or to just kind of hold on and see where it went, which was down. So that kind of confirmed. But all the other people I had met through Instagram, all this surreal artists, were all doing NFTs. That was a disappointment. And it kind of makes me wonder that if I hadn't moved away from that circle, would I be doing the same thing? Well, thankfully I didn't get to that. I'm also the NFT guys were either incredibly ignorant of the situation, or were already filthy rich and wanted to make more money. Exactly, Asti. You put it very well.
It costs a lot of money to even like list one.
Yeah. It was.
And then they market it as something for poor artists, and poor artists can't even afford the fees
Exactly.
to list, or the fees that it takes to collect their money. Why do you need a fee to collect your money?
They were just siphoning money from those small artists jumping into the wave. And that's why a lot of the people, like, there was a lot of backlash against any artist doing NFTs. And I get the backlash against big artists doing NFTs, which are pretty much assured to get a lot of money. But I also saw backlash against like very small artists who I felt like were being ripped off. So I couldn't really like be angry at them. You're kind of sad for them that they're gonna lose this bunch of money. So yeah, bittersweet. Well, not sweet, just bitter. Just different shades of bitter. Enoch, thank you so much for chatting. We didn't know if Enoch could make it today, so I'm very glad that you could. We have the bee here to say bye, so that's perfect.
Oh, the bee.
The bee, everyone's saying bee in chat. Leave your bees in chat. Anyway, Enoch, it's a pleasure. I will talk to you later as we play some Jackbox, okay?
Okay, goodbye.
Bye-bye.